Episode 3, Confrontation in the Square. Scene 1, Crossing the Threshold of Pain.
They approached the square from 3 different directions. The resonance fence was still active. As they drew closer to the violation at its center, the sound intensified. No longer a background hum but a piercing insistence that pressed into bone and nerve. It was a ringing refusal, a wordless no that vibrated behind the eyes and set teeth on edge. The air itself seemed to resist them. Teddy felt it first in his temples. Each step forward sharpened the pressure, and with it came the familiar voice of reason. Precise, relentless, turn back. This is irrational. The data is insufficient. The risk is unjustified. His legs hesitated, muscles locking as if awaiting a better argument. He closed his eyes. Logic demanded certainty. His senses offered proof. Teddy exhaled and let the arguments fall away. He did not calculate the next step, he placed it, then another. The ringing grew louder, but he moved anyway, trusting the ache in his ears more than the silence of his screams. From the opposite side, Lucy slowed. Guilt weighed on her with every pace. The fence's sound twisted into accusation, each pulse reminding her of rules broken and safeguards abandoned. You were meant to protect, it seemed to say, you were meant to comply. Her grip tightened on the teacup. She remembered faces she had soothed, nights she had endured, the order she had believed in because it promised care. Stepping closer felt like betrayal, staying away felt worse. I just want to see, she whispered, and took another step. Above them, descending along a dim stair and into the open, Thinksy faltered as the light thinned. The beam she had cast no longer guided her. The square ahead lay darker than she expected. Fear crept in. Quiet and persuasive. What if the light fades again? What if this was only reflection, and there is nothing left to carry you? She remembered the glass, the angle. Thinksy kept moving, trusting the echo of brightness she had seen there. Even as the night closed in, the ringing rose to a crescendo. It became almost solid, a wall of sound that pressed against their chests and rang through their skulls. Each of them reached the edge of endurance at the same moment. One more step and the pain would overwhelm them. Then they crossed the line. The sound stopped, not gradually, instantly. They stepped into the flower's circle, and the world fell quiet. The resonance fence's screen collapsed into nothing, leaving a pocket of stillness so complete it felt unreal. The air softened, breath came easily. At the center stood the Moonflower, glowing blue and calm, its presence shaping the silence around it like a shelter. Beside it sat little Mai, legs stretched out, hands braced behind her. She looked up and grinned, sharp and satisfied. Took you long enough, she said. I was starting to think you'd miss all the fun. They stood there together. Teddy with his certainty undone, Lucy with guilt still warm in her chest, Thinksy blinking as her eyes adjusted to the quiet. Around them, the square remained rigid and gray. Within the circle, life breathed. The threshold had been crossed, the pain had been paid, and nothing on either side of the silence would ever sound the same again.
Scene 2. Truth without words.
Inside the flower circle, no one spoke at first. The silence was different here. Soft, attentive. It did not press or command, it waited. They stood together at last, close enough to see what distance and filters had hidden for weeks, without the smoothing light of reports or the reassuring blur of routine. The truth emerged quietly and without mercy. Teddy saw Lucy properly. Her fur, once carefully groomed, was matted and dull, its grayness deeper than fatigue alone could explain. The reports had said rested, stabilized. Standing here, he understood how easily exhaustion could be disguised as compliance. Lucy looked at Teddy and felt her chest tighten. He was thinner than she remembered, shoulders sharp beneath his coat. His eyes were red, rimmed with the kind of strain that no authority could command away. This was not the image of calm mastery she had been shown. This was a body that had not been allowed to stop. Thinksy watched them both. She did not need reports to tell him what he saw. In the quiet, it was unmistakable. They were all fractured in different places, worn thin by a system that had promised wholeness. The realization did not frighten her, it grounded her. Teddy's hand trembled as he reached into his coat. He unfolded the map one last time, its surface clean and confident, its symbols precise. Then he let it fall. The paper drifted down and came to rest beside the Moonflower. On the map, the marking was clear, stone. Above it, alive and luminous, the flower continued to bloom. Data was wrong, Teddy said softly. Lucy knelt and brushed her fingers against the petals. They were warm, real. She inhaled sharply, as if afraid the sensation might vanish. It's alive, she whispered. How can it be alive here? Thinksy met her gaze, then looked at the flower. Because it didn't ask for permission. Little Mice snorted from where she lounged nearby. See? Much simpler than all those charts. No one laughed, not yet. Instead, they shifted. One step closer, then another. Until they formed a rough circle around the Moonflower, not touching, not embracing, just present. In that shape, something settled between them, an understanding without slogans or commands. They had not been lied to with words, they had been lied to with distance, with isolation, with the careful prevention of seeing one another clearly. The truth was not beautiful, it was uneven, tired, alive, and for the first time, it belonged to them.
Scene 3. Arkhon speaks.
The shadows lengthened, light shifted at the edge of the square, and from it Arkhon stepped forward. Unhurried, composed, as though arriving slightly late to a lesson already underway. His presence did not raise the volume of the world, it stilled it. A raven perched on his shoulder, feathers dark as ink, head tilted in quiet appraisal. Arkhon looked at them with something that might have been regret, not anger, not fear, the expression of a teacher faced with disappointing students. My friends, he said gently, this need not be difficult. His voice slid easily into the quiet, warm and precise. It carried no threat, it did not need to. He turned to Teddy first. Teddy, Arkhon continued, This is hysteria. One weed does not invalidate an entire system. Return to the laboratory, we will analyze this properly. The word properly settled like a blanket, clean, reassuring. Arkhon's gaze shifted to Lucy. You are exhausted, he said softly. You're wandering because you're depleted. Go and rest, I will take care of this mess. The promise was almost irresistible. Sleep, relief, someone else handling the weight. Then Arkhon looked at Thinksy. And you, he said kindly, should not encourage them. You know how fragile you are. For a moment, the square wavered. The ringing pain they had endured seemed suddenly unnecessary. Arkhon's words offered an exit. Quiet, orderly, painless. If they obeyed, the pressure would ease, the world would make sense again. Teddy felt his resolve thin. Lucy's shoulders sagged. Thinksy's light flickered. Cops? A small stone bounced harmlessly off Arkhon's boot. Little Mai stood with another pebble already in her hand, grinning. You're boring, she said, and you talk too much. The moment broke. Arkhon's head tilted slightly, as though recalibrating. Teddy did not move. No, he said. The word was quiet, unadorned. Behind it, something faltered, the faint ticking that always underlay the world. Measuring? Counting. Missed a beat. I'm not going to analyze this, Teddy went on, voice steadying as he spoke. I want to look at it. Lucy stepped forward, coming to stand beside him. I'm not tired, she said. It was a lie, and she knew it. Her hand shook as she added, I'm angry. The raven rustled its feathers. Arkhon's smile remained, but it tightened. No longer fluid, no longer entirely at ease. For the first time, his certainty encountered resistance that could not be reasoned away. Careful, he said mildly, but the warning landed too late. The clock had skipped, the answer had been given, and Arkhon understood, at last, that absolute control had slipped. Not because he had been overpowered, but because someone had refused to agree.